Hello. Well, first of all, thank you very much for coming. For those of you that don't know me, I don't think there's many. My name is Steve Ringsdor. I'm a member of the board and I'm also chairman of the Facilities Committee. So the object today is to present our plan for the renovation of the locker rooms. And I'm pleased to say that we've got some members of our committee here. We've also got our designer, our architect, and our contractor here, and they'll be happy to answer any questions that I can't manage at the end of the presentation. You've also got on the tables some frequently asked questions and answers. So some of the questions we think you're going to have, I hope we've anticipated at least some of them. But at the end of the presentation, we're going to leave plenty of time for questions. We're not going to spend too much time on this. This is not going to take a long time. But if you'd like to come at the end of the presentation, if you've got any queries or things that you're not clear about, we can actually go down to the locker rooms and we can actually show you what we're planning to do in more detail if that's of interest. Okay, so anybody who wants to do that afterwards, just stay behind and we'll do that with you. Okay, so on behalf of the Facilities Committee, I'd like to present our plan for the locker rooms. So the agenda is we're going to present the renovation plan. We'll talk to you about the key milestones and the timelines that we have to make the project happen. Obviously, we'll go through the costs and we'll answer any questions that aren't answered on that frequently asked and answered questions. So this is the current state of our locker rooms. And they're in no means in a bad way, but I was surprised to learn that they're 20, 25 years old in places. Some of them have had some touch-ups and painting, etc., but most of them are in a situation of being 20 to 25 years old, but still in a good shape. The place that's not in a good shape, and this picture here, is where we have our attendant locker area. That hasn't been touched since the building was built. And it's a hodgepodge of old furniture and machinery, etc., and urgently needs some attention. All of the furniture that we have, and we've pictured the one in the ladies' card room, all of that furniture is also well past its sell-by date and will probably need replacing whatever we do. So the objectives we had in this project, so why do the project in the first place? Well, we did a survey this year and we sent a summary around to everybody of the people that objected to, had suggestions for things we should do more of. There were 60 comments in that survey asking us to do something with the locker rooms. The next one was practice facilities, for example. So the locker rooms was by far the most commented on situation that we felt, the members felt, needed improvement. And that's where this really came from, is that we're trying to answer and meet the needs and the requested improvements from the membership themselves. This is not us. We're all members like you. And if we are going to spend money on something, we want to say that it's something worth doing, not just for a small group, but for the bigger group of the membership itself. So if we do this, and there will be at the end of this presentation, we're going to do a video. We're doing it today. We will be sending that video out with a note explaining the project to all the members. That will go out on the 19th, I think, and then after that, on Friday, and by the 19th of November, all members will be asked to vote, and we will need 66% of the members that vote to get an approval for the project itself. Okay, so the project is not approved until the whole membership have voted on it. But if we do it, it will complete the renovation that we did when we did the clubhouse upstairs. So this is us trying to get our locker rooms to the same high standard that we've achieved up here. And then we also looked at several options before we came up with this one, and this was the one that gave us the most added new functionality. And what I mean by that is more lockers, more space, etc., compared to just a paint and tiling refresh. This is a renovation in line with what we've done upstairs. So we've just done a summary of what this is going to give us. So in the ladies' locker room, we already have a waiting list of 17 people for lockers. And we already have also a lot of people who have shoe lockers who would like to upgrade to the full locker size. That's not included in the 17. So in this new plan, we're now going to provide at least 36 new lockers. And what I say by at least, there will be an option in the future if we wanted to add to that without doing any further knocking of walls, etc. In the men's area, we don't have a waiting list. We have enough lockers for the demand, but this will provide at least some guest lockers, and again, the facility to add more lockers in the future without major renovation. Obviously, we're going to update the bathrooms and the showers, and there's going to be, there's a design here that obviously you can look at. We'll show you a map of what we're doing later, and again, we can take you downstairs and show you what we are planning to do, but it will mean a complete renovation. It will mean taking out the showers we've already got, retiling everything, redoing the vanity areas, adding new functionality to the ladies area, especially where we're going to have a hair drying station. Apparently that's something that the members would like. So those are the sort of added things that we're putting in. We're also going to have a dedicated food beverage area in each locker room. So today we have a coffee room, a coffee station, and you have some soft drinks in jugs, etc. This will be properly plumbed in. It will have the proper electrical connections. We'll be able to offer a far wider range of snacks, etc., should we wish to do that. There will be, because at the moment in the men's locker room, there is a hodgepodge of lockers that we've added that have encroached on the small area we had for what was a lounge stroke card room. This is now going to give us a dedicated lounge and proper card room with proper lighting and a much more convivial atmosphere than frankly we've got today. There will be an updated men's and women's locker attendant room. So we are going to be proposing to the board, not approved yet, to hire a female locker attendant for once this is completed. This will give us the space for her to work in her area without any sight lines into either of the locker rooms. New flooring and lighting throughout. So the lighting in there is again a hodgepodge. There's been lots of adjustments over the years. This will bring us up to date, will give us very good lighting and the ability to change that lighting easily should we need to, and obviously new flooring, carpeting, tiles, etc. We're painting and decorating, I think that goes without saying. The parking lot entrance, so when you come in from the parking lot before you go into the lockers, that whole area we're planning to redo the flooring. We're going to put a bit more furniture out there so that people who are waiting for people to come out the lockers can do so in a bit more comfort, and we're going to update the decoration there. So there's new furniture in both locker rooms. This will include the card room tables, the chairs, couches, etc. There's going to be new storage capacity. So there will be new cupboards underneath installed book cases instead of having the standalone cases we have at the moment. One of the big things that we decided to include in this project, which was not considered in the original scope, was to replace the windows downstairs in both the men's and the women's area. They are not impact resistant at the moment. They're more than 20 years old. They're not leaking or rotten or anything at the moment, but they're clearly getting to their shelf life, and they're not impact resistant, obviously, for hurricanes, etc. So the cost of not doing that is a big premium if we ended up ruining all the locker rooms because of a bad storm. So the plan is to put impact-resistant windows in all of that area. And that's a clear reason why we want to do all of this in one go, because you don't want to do that another 2 or 3 years from now, and after having done painting, decorating, tiling, because clearly it's going to create a lot of mess. And it's not just replacing the windows we've got. We're going to change the size of some of those windows, which means masonry work, a lot of dust, a lot of dirt. There's going to be a dedicated built-in library space, and everything will be the American Disabilities Act compliant. So not all of it is today, so we're going to make sure that at least one of the showers, the bathroom facilities, etc., are all ADA compliant going forward. Okay? So that's the list. That's not everything, but it's a key summary list of all the benefits that we're going to get out of this significant investment. So what's it going to cost? So in this club, and like many clubs, and I've had the privilege of doing a lot of reciprocals in the summer. I've been to a lot of clubs that have done a lot of work. Shadowwood are doing a lot. Bonita Bay have done a lot. Lots of clubs have done these renovations. I was shocked when I first saw this, but so I asked people what do they think, and they said, no, this is what we're all paying, unfortunately. The other thing is, we don't have the manpower or the skills in a club like this to manage a project of this size, in the same way we didn't have those skills or time to manage the roof project or the parking lot project, etc. And we've had very good luck in picking ACG. Matt is here from ACG. They have already worked with us on those projects. They know us very well. They have a vast network of suppliers, contractors, vendors, etc. that they can call on that we would have to do on ourselves if we went ahead and try and manage a project like this on our own. And we simply don't have the skills or the manpower to do that. So that's why we have ACG. Clearly a designer and an architect. I'm certainly not the person to pick colors, and my wife will tell you that very quickly. So we need somebody to help us with that. We've also got Alicia on our committee, who's also done a lot of work when we did this part of the building. She had a lot of input to those colors and designs. So we have a lot of people on our team that can help us do that. And then the plans that you see here are done by our architect, Randy, who's here also, to help us make sure, obviously, that we've got a plan to work to. The new furniture, and there's $300,000 in contingency. So I'm not sure everybody understands contingency. So this is, in case these costs are more than we think they're going to be, that's the contingency we have in the budget. What we're going to propose to you today is that this $2,463,000 is a not to exceed budget, okay? So if by any chance in the process of between now and when we start work, costs escalate beyond that number, then the whole process would stop. We'd come back and have another vote. So should it get approved, but that number was exceeded because of hyperinflation beyond our control, then we wouldn't just plow ahead and spend more money that's not authorized. We would come back and ask for another vote or just abandon the project, depending on what we wanted to do. So happy to take any questions you like afterwards about these costs. We've put some notes in the handouts you have there. It's not cheap. What I'm telling you is that we've done a lot of work to benchmark this with other places. It's not out of line with other people and what they've paid. Be aware, though, that at this stage, this is only one quote from each of the vendors. So one electrician's quote, one plumber's quote, one tiling quote, etc. If it gets approved by the membership, then we will go to get 3 quotes for all of those things, both labor and materials, and we will then make sure that we've got the best quotes we can get, obviously, maintaining the quality that we need to make this a 20-25-year investment, not something we're going to have to redo in 5 or 6 years. So I didn't realize this, but the actual area that we're talking about is very big. It's 6,500 square feet when you take the whole of that downstairs area, both locker rooms together, the attendant rooms, and all the lockers themselves. Obviously it's 6,500 square feet. If you take the 2.5 to round it up, that means we're proposing a budget of $384 a square foot. If we don't spend the contingency of $300,000, which it will be our strong intention not to do, then it comes down to 338 square foot. So the numbers haven't changed, but it just sounds better if you look at that instead of 2.5 million. But if you look at new building costs, if you look at redoing any kind of residential work, actually that's a very good number to bear in mind, because the numbers I've heard from people doing their own houses, doing their own small bathrooms compared to this, it actually comes out to a lot more than that. Costs have gone up exponentially since COVID. We've had obviously a huge building boom in Southwest Florida. There is a shortage of skilled labor. There are not enough vendors for a lot of these skilled areas like tiling, electrical, etc., especially not for commercial businesses like ours. We can't take residential people to do this because obviously there's going to be a lot more demand on the things that we're going to be putting into this area than you would have in a normal home or a residential area. The other thing we looked at, as I said, when we first considered this, we weren't considering doing the windows. That was a longer term project, but given the scope of what we're thinking of doing now, it would be obviously insanity to do those 3 or 4 years from now when they will have to be done, because then we're just going to create a big mess and ruin all the work we've done. So we're going to have to do that anyway. That's at least $300,000 of the whole thing. The furniture, I think, is coming to the end of its shelf life. Certainly from the ladies' point of view, we hear that from the furniture in the card room. So we're going to have to replace these things at some point in the near future. So whether we like it or not, there's $600,000 approximately on those costs. So the real net cost of the whole thing is 1.863, but whichever way you cut it, it's still 2.463 million. So the plans, they're not going to be easy to see on a screen. As I said, we've got one here, and you're going to see one of the renderings that we've got up there. And again, we can go downstairs if you wanted to look at it. But this is the plan of the locker room areas. So the red lines are the changes that we're going to make from the existing situation. So if I come down from the top left there, that's the ladies area. That vestibule is going to be half the size it is now. And then just below it, there's going to be the extra locker rooms. That's where the lockers are going to go in place. Here. Okay. And then there's going to be this increased vanity area in the bathroom and the hair drying station. The attendance room here is going to extend out into one of the actual storage cupboards that's there at the moment. And that's where the attendant will be able to help people in the women's locker room. But that will allow us then to put all these extra lockers in. It maintains the size of the ladies' card room. We've illustrated the number of tables there. Obviously, we can adjust that as we get to that point. Sure.
Have we increased the footprint of that area?
No. So this is not touching the exterior walls. We're not touching that. That's a good question. Thank you. This is the same footprint. Any attempt to move the walls out to increase the footprint, I have no idea what that would have cost, but Matt, I think it would have been significantly more, correct? Correct. So we believe we've got enough space, but this does not include any increase in the square footage. So on the men's side, I've got to use the microphone for the video. On the men's side, we're going to change the footprint as you come in from the golf side. There's going to be a new wall, and then the lockers are going to be on that right-hand side, where today we have the library, the top right, that's where the library is, and where a couch is. That is now going to be lockers. There's also going to be new lockers on that wall that abuts the vanity area of the bathrooms. And then we're going to move the urinals. We're going to put 2 new showers in. There's going to be a much better lighting situation. And then the card room now, with all those lockers removed, becomes a decent space with the TVs that we've already got and a built-in library, etc. And new flooring, lighting, ceiling, everything. Those are the main things. There are lots of other things in there, sure.
Talk about the snacks.
Oh yes, thank you. Yep.
That's big in the survey.
Yep. So in the survey, a lot of people said we'd like to have a bigger variety of snacks down there, soft drinks, etc. So what we've provided in both locker rooms, are a dedicated snack area. So in the men's area, it's here. Sorry, the women's area, it's here. And in the men's area, it's on both sides of this. So in that space, there will be proper plumbing, electrical outlets, ability to put in hot plates, whatever we want to use it for. We can use that much more effectively than we can today, where it's basically just a coffee machine and a few jugs of soft drinks and snacks.
Is that self-serve?
Sorry?
Is that self-serve?
Yes. So we're not planning, apart from the lady locker attendant, we're not planning to add any extra staff here because of the cost of adding more staff. But we have other thoughts of what we could do if this is approved. But we're not planning to discuss that today based on the fact we haven't even talked about it to the board, etc. But there are other things that we are thinking of doing within this space now that we couldn't do today.
Is the card rooms both locker rooms the same size?
No, the ladies' locker card room is bigger than ours, as it should be. Sure. Sorry, hang on.
So the ladies' library in the same place?
So the ladies' library, which is today here, is now going to be on this wall. Okay? So it's a built-in library space into the wall facing the card room, which you can see on here. Yep.
I have never seen a woman really need an area for a hair dryer area. I don't understand how men can come up with that idea for the women.
First of all, I represent a committee, and on that committee we have ladies. We also had several comments in the survey asking for extra facilities like that. So while we're doing this level of renovation, it was not much more to provide that space.
I was told about 3 years ago that there was a plan to move the pro shop, so reconfiguring the pro shop would be closer to the practice area. And so is that in the picture at all, and will the pro shop be involved in this change as well?
No. I'll elaborate. So we are planning to do some extra work in the pro shop later on, whether it's next year or the year after. But it is basically cosmetic, so we might move where the actual reception desk is right now. It needs apparently a better air circulation because there's a problem with that in the HVAC right now. And they may have some other equipment, if you like, for hanging things more effectively. But it's not a major renovation of the pro shop, and we are not planning to move the pro shop.
Okay, and I have one more question. The windows in the ladies' locker room, will those be the same size?
Yes, and they will be replaced.
All right, thank you.
Okay, what furniture is being replaced?
I can't hear, I'm sorry.
What furniture is being replaced? It seems like there's not a lot of furniture.
Right, so the furniture that's being replaced here is all of this furniture.
Right.
We will be adding furniture into the men's locker room because there's basically nothing except a card table and a couple of chairs.
Right.
There will be some furniture here that we're not using today, and there will be furniture outside in the entranceway.
And that's going to cost $300,000.
Well, like I said, these are first quotes, first estimates, okay? We have not decided yet, but we're putting down a list of what we need.
It also includes all the benches, decorative lighting, mirrors, etc. So it's not just like the...
Okay, good, thank you. So if those who didn't hear that, it also includes all the benches. So when we say benches, we mean these, okay? Because they will need to match the new flooring, I'm told. And then we will also, it also includes decorative lighting, which is not included in this.
Wallpaper, artwork, draperies, anything that's FF&E is in that.
It's not just furniture.
It's not just furniture. No, I'm glad you were here, because I didn't know that.
It's not a proposal to replace the lockers themselves.
No, the lockers themselves will stay as is. Very expensive. Look, we are adding 37 lockers into the ladies' area, so they are in the budget.
So I don't happen to have a locker, and I don't really remember the condition of the current lockers, but they don't need to be refurbished at all or redone.
Not in our opinion, no.
It's going to be okay with the decor. It's kind of an old-fashioned, old-style lockers, not a modern look, and you're going to put this into a modern...
So you should be talking to Danny. No, it's not easy to match the color of the lockers that we've got, which are orange, with a decor that we're planning to put in, which should be obviously modern, lively, upbeat. We hope it's going to be in line with the colors we already have. But replacing the lockers, what did we say that was going to cost, Matt? That would have been, I don't know, Chris. It's a lot of money if we wanted to replace the lockers, correct?
I mean, each individual locker is roughly $1,000 a piece,
Right.
just for purchase, not including install or anything like that.
Right.
So that would add up.
But, and I'm not saying that we should change the lockers, but I worry that they're not going to fit into the style, the modern style that you guys are creating.
That's why we have a designer.
Okay.
We're hoping that she's going to come up with a color scheme and a plan for the flooring, etc., that will mesh it all together.
I know, but that's putting the cart before the horse, as it were. You're making her, conform with the current lockers and how they look in order to get
Well, one of the things that we're very conscious about is that we're already proposing to spend $2.4 million. And it's my money as much as it is yours, and I think if the lockers are in good shape and they're functional and they're not in any way damaged, then if we can use them, we should.
Well, just wouldn't want to walk into the locker room and see a dissonance.
I get it.
Between, you know, and, you know, if we're talking about the next 25 years or 30 years, you know, those lockers are, they're perfectly fine for what we have as a design in there. But when you walk into other clubs, you know, the lockers are tuned to the space.
So when we get to the stage where it's all approved and we've got all 3 quotes, the process will be that we will have two separate teams, one for the men's locker room, one for the ladies' locker room within the facilities committee, who will come up with Danny with designs. Okay? When we have what we think is the best design with colors, we will do renderings like those, and we will put them in the club for people to comment on, so that you can see what it's going to look like before we start the work. And hopefully, if anybody finally objects, obviously we can take it on hand then. Yes, Frank.
Steve, do we need any permits at all?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons to hurry this. Sorry to add, but you have to start that process by December of this year in order to start the project on May the 1st of 2026.
Okay. By doing these permits, are the taxes going to go up?
Are our taxes going to go up? Don't know. Good question. They will? Yeah, valuation will go up, so yes, our taxes will go up a little bit, I'm sure. You're right, I didn't think about that.
It looks to me that, like, the vast majority of lockers are not being moved.
The vast majority are not being moved, correct.
So in other words, over half of the space on the men's and half of the space on the women's is going to be exactly as it is today.
Correct.
With just a little freshening up.
Correct. Flooring, lighting, ceilings. It's more than a bit of freshening up, but yes, you're right. We're not touching the lockers, we're not moving them.
All you're going to do is do some new lighting and carpeting. Are you going to paint the lockers?
No, we hadn't planned to paint the lockers, but that's an option if we needed to do that.
So just trying to get a perspective here of, of the work that needs to be done.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Explain, if you would, the funding in the restricted capital fund, how the revenue is going to come in to pay for this, and are there any other major facility needs that the club is going to require spending on?
Okay, so we have the funds in our restricted funds. So these funds, when we say restricted, they are for capital use only. And we have enough funds to cover this project, so there will be no assessment to the members, there will be no extra cost that we've got today to do this project. In terms of other projects, we are going through the strategic planning process now on the board. This is the second time we've done this, and what we've asked each committee, so the facilities is one of those committees, you have the grounds committee, you have golf committees, etc. They have all put down what they see as their projects in the next 3 to 5 years that would require capital money, that couldn't be done just out of our normal funding. And that plan, we believe, can still be funded with all of the things that we have planned in budgeting for new members, etc. So yes, there are other projects, but this is within the scope of what we want to do within the next 2 or 3 years, and that will be, the board has approved this as being needed to be done now based on the survey that we had. Does that make sense?
I hate to come back to this, but how much would it cost in total to replace all the lockers in the men's? Do you have any idea?
How many lockers do we have, Matt?
I don't know what the current count is, I just know what we've added to the...
It's $1,000 each for each locker.
Do we have?
It must be 400. More than that? 500? I don't know the total number. So we're talking 400 to 500,000 minimum.
Not including labor.
Sorry, hang on.
Just to answer that, Amy, our designer, is fully confident that...
Hang on, yeah. Just a second, please. Hang on, please. Yeah, so the question was, how much would it cost to replace all the lockers? They're about $1,000 each. I haven't got the exact number to hand, but it's probably at least 500 lockers.
Only St. Danny, our designer here, has looked at the condition and the colors of our lockers. We don't have the dark brown that a lot of other places have and everything else. Danny is very confident that the colors of our lockers and the design of our lockers themselves are just fine to design around. So she has no concern from what other clubs are doing. What happens in this environment is perfectly fine.
Well, wait, I just heard the head of the committee here call it orange.
They're orange, yeah. Well, they're not dark brown, yeah.
Whatever color you want to call it.
Yeah.
But we're working with a designer to say they aren't outdated. We are fortunate that we don't have very outdated lockers, and they can easily be done to match our new decor. That's the answer.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Can you describe the change to the showers in the ladies' locker room? Will they just be redone as it is, or are they going to be reconfigured at all?
Right. So the question was, what are we doing with the showers in the ladies' locker room? And the same question applies to the men's locker room, by the way. They're being completely redone. Okay, so they're going to be retiled. They're going to be new shower heads, new fittings. Everything is going to be new. And me personally, I'm looking for something that's going to have a very good water flow, something that's going to really come down quick. I don't know the exact design. Danny would know more, but that's what we're planning to do. Does that answer your question? And one of them will be ADA compliant as well. So there'll be 2 showers in each locker room.
Can you tell us about the vote? A lot of us are married or have a spouse, so we have 2 votes. Are we giving 1 vote per household, or are we going to have 1 and 2?
So, yeah, so there's, under the rules that we have at the club right now, it's 1 vote per household, and if it's a full membership, that counts for 2 votes, correct? Okay, so you have 1 vote per household, but it counts for 2 votes. That's how it's going to work. And we need 66% of the people that vote in order to get this passed. Oh, you're okay? Any questions on that? Does that answer your question? Yeah. Any other questions? I'll just finish this off then. So that's what it looks like in its finished state, and that's the same as this diagram here, which you're welcome to look at later. Yep.
One vote is that the bylaws?
No, that is the current system that we've used for the last I don't know how many years.
It is in the bylaws.
Yes.
It is in the bylaws today. Yes, that's how it's written today in the bylaws. So full membership is worth 2 votes, but you only have 1 vote per household.
One other question. What about if we have, are we going to have it either all or nothing, or it's like, can we have a side of whether a lot of the men don't really care about this, and a lot of the women really care about this? Okay?
So the question was, is this an all or nothing situation? Is it possible to have, maybe the men saying, we don't want to touch ours and we'll just do the women's side? No. What we're planning to do here is to get this done in 1 go. So one of the other things we've considered here is we spoke to AJ, who is in charge of new membership. And when he takes people around, they're blown away by up here. And when they go to the locker rooms, they're distinctly underwhelmed. And most of them are looking around. They've seen other clubs. And we're very concerned that unless we bring it up to standard at some point, then you're going to be falling behind. If you choose to do it in 2 goes, and that's an option, we could just do the women's next year and maybe the men's later, it's going to cost you a lot more money because in terms of supervising the work, now you've got twice the effort for the same output. So it's going to cost more money. So we decided the best proposal was get it done. Does that answer your question?
I'm still confused on the vote. So, each household for a full member gets 2 votes. Can they vote differently?
No. Each household has 1 vote, but it counts for 2 because we have other members that are still in the club Do you want to comment on this?
We have social members, we have the other members get one vote. It's all in the bylaws. This vote will be done exactly by the current bylaws
Yep.
that are in place now. For the same vote we did for the roof, the same vote we did for the parking lot. It's identical.
Yeah, we haven't changed anything. This is not new to the club.
So it's not two votes, it's one vote.
Yeah, you have to decide with your partner what vote you're going to make, but your vote counts for 2 compared to a social member or an associate member or whatever. Okay? Yeah, I have to do the same as you. I have to get my wife to agree with me, which is not easy. All right, just let me finish this off. So there's one. Sorry, yes, sure.
You guys have done a lot of good work on this, obviously, tons of hours, so that's good stuff.
Thank you.
Do you have a backup plan? If what I'm saying is if this doesn't pass, and if it doesn't pass, my guess would be it's a financial decision. You don't think you're spending too much. Do we have a backup plan?
No, we don't. We actually had that big discussion about that. There is no backup plan because then you'd have to start getting new quotes, etc. And we don't believe we're going to have the time to do that and get the permits and do everything in order to get it done next year. Now, we can have a new plan for the year after, but for next year, it's either this or we're not going to do anything in 2026. That's what it boils down to. Does that answer your question? Yeah?
From a funding perspective, I understand the reserves and it's part of our cash flow cycle. I think what I'm hearing is that the board is saying this is the next best use of these restricted funds. We want to make this our next project.
Correct.
And that if this project goes forward and it's completed, it will draw down those funds.
Yes.
But in the annual cycle of cash flow in our club, those restricted funds get built up, I'm guessing, through cash flow?
Yeah, so every
level, and then the next set of projects begin to deal with that as the next.
Correct. That's the cycle we go through. So what the biggest area for funding for restricted funds is the new membership fee we charge for new members. That money, most of it goes into the restricted fund. I think all of it goes into the restricted funds.
That becomes really the biggest decision, whether it be at the club level or board level, is this funds are here, they're coming, they're going, they're continue to come and go. And do we believe this is the next best use? You guys recommend?
We have recommended this from the board based on what we've heard from other committees. This is the next best use for the funds, given the survey and all the comments we've had from members.
We currently have $7 million in restricted capital.
Yeah, so we currently have $7 million in restricted capital. Okay, that's currently in the bank. All right, yes, sir.
Okay, if we do this project, now the front patio area won't affect this building, part of the building at all.
No.
We won't move that wall out, we won't do anything.
We're not touching the wall that is...
In a
No.
future project.
No, we're not planning to move that wall at all. Yeah, no, we talked about that a lot. So this is a rendering of what it could look like. Please, this is just one of, could be hundreds of different versions, forget the colors, etc. But you can see the bookcase at the end, you can see the TV that would be there, etc. That's the women's card room. This would be the women's vanity area. It may not be these colors, but this is the sort of thing that we're talking about. And this is the timing and the communication. I think we've mentioned most of this. So we're doing the presentations this week. So by the end of this week or beginning of next, we're going to send a video that we're making today, plus all of your questions, plus a note explaining the project to all of the members, okay, asking them to vote by November the 19th. So on November the 19th, we'll know whether the project has been passed or not. Then we start getting 3 quotes for the work. Assuming it's passed, we start getting 3 quotes for all the work beginning November the 20th. We're not going to do that beforehand because obviously we're spending a lot of time to do that. The contractor, plus we don't want to mess people around if we're not going to do the project. Then we go for the building permits. Then we make the choice of suppliers and materials by the end of this year. We have to lock in these contractors. If we're going to start work on May the 4th, we have to lock them in by January, otherwise we may not be able to get them because all clubs try and do their work in the summer the same as we are trying to do. We will display renderings and material boards in the beginning of January so that everybody can have a comment and we can discuss that further at the time. We're going to ask members to empty their lockers by April the 30th next year, and then construction begins the week after. There will be weekly meetings with our ACG partners, with the designers and the committee to make sure that we're discussing any issues that come up, costs, etc. And we plan to finish this at the latest by the end of October next year.
What if you don't?
What if we don't?
Yeah.
Who asked that? Matt, would you comment on that? Is there any likelihood we won't finish by the end of October?
We've worked with a lot of our partners in coming up with the budget pricing, and they've been able to walk and see the actual locker conditions, share with them the sketches and the ideas. I feel that with being able to contract early, like Steve was saying, we're able to not only contract but also get materials on site. That's going to be a huge advantage to us, so that on the main board, we're demoing and discuss hard.
So just to summarize what Matt said, the question was, what happens if we go longer? We hope, and we can't guarantee anything of course, but assuming that we don't hit any major surprises, because of this timeline, we're able to lock in vendors and suppliers early. They will be able to start promptly on May the 4th. With the help of ACG, we will then manage that so that we don't have any overlap of contractors coming in to do electrical work when we have to wait for plumbing, etc. That's the benefit of having Matt and his team. And we're very confident that October the 31st will be the latest date that this project will take.
What arrangements are you going to make for the people that are here all summer?
Right, thank you. It's very good. I forgot to mention that. I'm glad you asked. So we're not planning to put in any temporary trailers or anything like that, obviously because of the cost. Plus, obviously, it's the summer, so there will be. And I'm here all year as well, so I play golf all year round. So we're going to ask members to come ready to play golf. Okay, first of all, if you do need a place to change your shoes or to change clothing, etc., over by the boardroom there are 2 meeting rooms that we're going to either use or the outside area for your shoes. I'm sorry, that way. Yes. That way.
You are left-handed.
Yeah, I'm left-handed. You're right. That's right. So the 2 meeting rooms over there we can use for ladies and men's changing if we need to, plus a shoe changing area outside. And then there are those bathrooms there as well that we can use in place of the bathrooms in the locker room, obviously for members. The other thing is that we're going to ask the locker room staff, Jason and the team, to continue to provide shoe cleaning, etc. Exactly how we're going to do that to be decided, but we're not planning on stopping any of those services in the summer of next year. We'll also do the same for reciprocals. We will obviously tell them we don't currently have locker room facilities, so please come ready to play golf. Any other questions?
Steve, would it be unreasonable to charge a contractor for liquidated damages on the bid?
So the question was, would it be unreasonable to charge the contractor damages if he doesn't finish on time? So we have not yet signed a contract with ACG or anybody yet because we haven't got the project approved. When we get down to contract negotiations with them, that will be part of the negotiation. It always is.
If it's done early, do you pay them in full?
Yeah, that's all I would say is, if you remember the roof budget, we comfortably beat that budget, and it came in on time. So, and the car park also. So we do have confidence in the people that we're working with, that they know our needs, they know the time constraints, and we certainly don't want to go longer than October the 31st. Any other questions? Sorry.
Will any part of the parking lot be used for staging of the materials, equipment, and such?
Just demolition.
Yeah, I think so the question was, will any part of the parking lot be used for staging of equipment or materials, etc.? It's possible, but probably the biggest time would be through demolition. So at the beginning of the project, correct, Matt?
Correct.
Yeah.
I think the only other place that we were really looking at and talking with Chris and Steve, some of the lockers, while they're getting relocated and that type of stuff, we were planning on using that hallway. Kind of comes from that entrance by the locker room to the pro shop, and using that area, it's addition space. We can protect those lockers and have those stored there. The rest of the materials and stuff like that will just be be either across the street in Connex boxes or whatnot, but we're trying to get everything, kind of looking back at the days and times of that. The big key is procurement of the labor and the materials, especially with electrical and tile finishes and stuff like that. Those are long lead items that a lot of times tend to vary. So we feel that by having us have that time between, really the first of the year where we start the contract stuff and getting stuff on the books for these guys, and they can start with help of Danny and the design committees, start making selections on tile, and that those materials can be ordered and be brought on site.
Just to store them at your house.
You put them in my house, yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, and then we could put them in my front yard, I suppose. Did everybody hear that? Okay, I don't need to repeat it, all right, good?
That was a mistake though, we did on the halfway houses. I stored some sinks for the halfway house there, and the wife saw it, and now I'm doing a kitchen remodel. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, you don't want to do that, no. Any other questions? A show of hands, anybody want to go and see the locker rooms? You all know them, 1, 2, okay, yeah, a couple of people. Anybody else? Other than that, thank you very much for coming, appreciate it.